Hello everyone. Today we have a slightly different replay review. This will be from a tournament played in person rather than online. I may have reviewed this Jamie before, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Our first opponent is an Alex, which I think is quite a difficult matchup for Jamie. Did you get outranged? And Alex's block strings are quite annoying to deal with. Okay. So let's see what happens at round start. Okay. You know, both players kind of whiffing stuff here. That's okay. It's unfortunate that you got punished like that. So I guess with more matchup experience, you wouldn't actually be pressing 5MK there. You would just weigh it. But I'm not too sure. You know, it just feels like he did a random option. You press 5MK and couldn't add there. Okay. ODDP comes out. That's perfectly fine. You're in the corner. So the first thing I would do here would be to take a drink. And going in like this is your first kind of big mistake. You're trying to pressure the opponent at drink level 0, which is risky. You know, also you have low damage, so what would your reward be? Whatever it is, it's already scaled to 90%, so it's kind of a wasted effort. So I'd be drinking straight away, right here. ODDP and then just taking a drink. Okay. So I don't quite have the precise control of the replay takeover, which is a downside of doing it this way, but that's okay. So you should mentally keep track of when you are below 3 bars of drive, because you get the punish counter here, which realistically should be wreck a drink to secure your first drink level. But instead, we go for a driver's cancel, and even worse, drop the combo. Now, throughout this tournament, you have dropped a lot of combos, but that's okay, you know, we get nervous, we drop, you know, perfectly okay. Not going to make like an excessive comment on that, there's no point. 2 HP, heavy palm is actually safe on blocks, -3, so it's okay to do, you know, I think it's fine. And now here's the tricky part. How do you play Jamie with no drinks and in burnout? Bit of a risky sweep there. Personally, I would just keep throwing out the 6 HKs, the 5 HKs, maybe not 5 HK, but you know, 6 HK if I get blocked. Maybe twice at this point, it will put Alex into burnout. And since you have recovered your burnout, well, it's about halfway, isn't it? You're going to get out of burnout first and then have 6 bars of drive to then actually pressure this Alex player and maybe force a quick win. But right now, it's going to be any mistake you're going to make is going to be heavily punished because you're in burnout. Okay, we're jumping. I think it's a lot better to just stay grounded, wait for the opponent to drive rush at you, and depending on your distance, 2 MP or 5 HK. And I do have the training room open so I can showcase that sort of range right here. So the 2 MP range is probably here. And then when the camera starts to pan out, you know, back here, we're looking at that sort of range. If you have target combo, you can replace 2 MP with your enhanced 5 LP, because remember, this has no range at drink level 0, so you can't check drive rush with it. Once you have your drink, you know, you can convert that into your safe jump pressure or strike throw pressure, whatever you want, which is why it's very strong. And you'll actually see some high level JV players randomly throwing out 5 LP, which does a few things. One, it says to the opponent, look, I'm ready to check your drive rush, but also it kind of makes the movement harder to read, and you can buffer like a palm behind it or something to try and hide it. Or you can drive rush behind it, do whatever. It's kind of up to you. Anyway, back to the gameplay. So, another whiff punish. I think what you should do is just always buffer Wrecker. Now, this does lose to DI, but why would a good player randomly DI unless you've shown them that you're doing your medium attack into Wrecker too much, and then it's a good read to DI. But when you've identified you're in a somewhat even neutral situation, both players are trying to hit a whiff punish, you know, just buffer into your medium punish Wrecker. It's also safe on block. It's not safe for you to follow up with something. It's -6, but it's spaced at the right kind of distance where you won't get punished by most things, only a 2 MK. So, you know, there's that. So I'd be also checking this with a button. 5 HP, 2 MK would work as well. Both are okay. It's quite, well, the Alex player cannot block during this stance, so I don't actually advise to drive rush 5 HP on this guy whenever he's in stance, because what's he gonna do? You know, he can't armor through 5 HP. So that is untested, by the way, so don't take my word for it. I have a feeling you'll be okay. So okay. You know, you can't let the grappler scare you. If they just walk up, you gotta contest your space. If they walk up into your range, you gotta press a button. Well, you don't have to, because at a higher level, you might just see them walk back and whiff punish you. But this Alex player has gone into stats, so it's going to be hard for him to whiff punish or remain safe. Stats is him committing to something offensive, basically, which you could punish with a faster button that's quick and relatively safe. Okay, we get command grabs. This is okay. Still alive. Now, believe it or not, you're actually at the advantage here. So, wow. You can force a mix-up. You could definitely burn him out with a drive rush cancel into a block string. You have options which this Alex player doesn't have. Unless he doesn't care about going into burnout, which is quite reasonable considering he will win the round, Okay, we get clipped by 2MK. Unfortunately, that happens to everyone. Not too much we can do about that. Ooh. You can't be throwing out 2 HP. I think that's a huge mistake. I wouldn't say it's a huge mistake, but it got you punish countered, right? So I think it has 35 frames of recovery. It's very risky to throw it out, especially if you're not going to cancel that into a heavy palm. Okay. You can ODDP here. You see the drive rush. It's a reasonable ODDP. It won't put you into burnout. You have level 2 to recover your drive back. That's okay. Okay, we're guessing in the corner now. Nice throw tech. Okay, drink level 1. Oh, unlucky. That was Alex's range coming into play there. You have to respect his range, that's what I'm going to say. He can catch you throwing out buttons a lot better than you can. Because what does Jamie have? 5 HK? To safely sort of poke people. Essentially, your 5 HK is Alex's medium punch or something. So, okay, that's actually a reasonable block string. 2MP, 2MP into 2MK. I like to follow up the wrecker. So 2MK wrecker there. Which is why I lose to DI a lot of the time, because I just cancel the wrecker all the time. Okay. I think that's how you should use 5 HP sometimes. You just throw it out, and you might catch something, you might interrupt the opponent doing something. But if you have the practice with the timing for the perfect parry, you can be even more aggressive for throwing out 5 HP, to the point where you want the opponent to block it, because then it's a mix-up. And then the opponent has to respect the move, or take a risky move, I throw, or they have to just block it out, I suppose, which is even better for you, because you can go for a throw or do stuff. I think I made a video on it in my Jamie Ruminations video, but I think it's very strong, and this is the sort of situation where you would use it. You would use 5 HP. You use it in a very casual, non-committal way, and it just kind of throws the opponent off, because you can throw out 5 HP whenever, and you'll probably be okay with Jamie. Okay, we miss. So this happens with Sagat. You got a counter hit there because you were pressing 2MK too far away. So unfortunately, you have to take more risk to approach. Why do you take more risk? Well, you could say Alex's reach is further, so it takes more time to walk up and go into a range where you can threaten a character with more range than you. Okay. That's one thing I've also noticed in general, you know, just whiffing buttons, especially the 2 HP, not whiffing buttons will help tremendously. When you go into Master Rank, there's a high chance your buttons will get whiff punished if the opponent's not sleeping at the wheel. You can, when you're low drive like this, you can hold parry and bait the opponent into, I wouldn't say bait the opponent, but you can play a mind game with them. Am I going to hold parry? Which means they have to stop their pressure early. And if you do this enough times, they're going to be forced to change their offensive strategy, which is good for you because it relieves pressure based on a mind game that they think you're going to do. But bear in mind, this only works because you're risking getting punish counted, like a punish counter throw if you hold parry, so just bear that in mind. But there are techniques to relieve pressure and defense without doing anything complicated or hard. It's not even an option to select. You're just holding parry. And you could theoretically gain back 2 bars of drive, which is huge. This is actually important as well in Under Night 2 with the chain shift. You can steal chain shift and get a huge momentum shift by effectively holding parry. So, although that's a good game where you have to block high and low to get that reward, still, even if you're parry. Okay, perfect parry. Let's see what happens. 2 drinks. That is quite a reasonable choice. You know, nothing wrong with that. I find that very tough to deal with. That frame trap that just happens that Alex sets up. You just gotta block it out and then I believe wait for maybe the light version and then you can punish it. But it's hard to tell unless you're like an Alex player yourself. Okay. This seems to be a frequent problem. We go for the drive rush 2MP, 2MP, but technically after the drive rush strike, so you're +6, and then the second 2MP you're +2, right? And then you basically have to go for a light button, which sometimes isn't even in range. So, going back to the training room. So you're doing this, but you know, you're kind of forced to press a light to be safe. You know, I would recommend maybe just doing nothing. Maybe go for a throw. Essentially, on the second hit, you're giving up a lot of different options you could do. So, I might just keep it simple. You know, just do that. Or I think this one's good. That one's okay too. And you can just keep doing that until you get a counter hit. The heavy palm is -3 on block. Well, the thing is, a block string that I was experimenting with is that if the opponent is smashing a light, on the second hit. So you can start to do things like this. I get a punish counter, which is very good. Or you can even do it like this. That also works. So I would recommend doing that over some other options you're doing, like 2 MP. Because this is 6 frames. It also doesn't move you forward. So this actually moves you forward. It's also 4 frames, which means it will catch. It would catch or trade with a 4 frame, and then it would hit everything else. So doing stuff like this is extremely powerful for Jamie. In fact, it's probably one of his core mechanics. And then you would be doing stuff like this, you know, just being an arsehole, basically. Like I might do this, do nothing, randomly throw out a 5 HP. If it catches something, great. You know, I'm going into my safe jump setup, whatever that may be. You know, you can also do it with this as well, right? And just... or this. Sorry, it's not -1 on block, it's -3. I think. Haha. I don't necessarily check everything, you know, if it works and I have the timing, then, you know, it works. That's, you know, don't overthink stuff. But yeah, you know, just doing this, very strong. Also works with this. Sometimes this, like the pushback. Yeah. So if you want to do your own setup, all you have to do is find the amount of pushback where a 2 OP would whiff, and then you just throw out your button. So that is all you have to do. Anyway, back to the tournament. I mean, I would say the next time you go online, throw out lots of 5 HPs, have a perfect parry ready, because if you have the confidence to throw out 5 HP whatever the fuck you want, your Jamie is going to be very scary. It's going to be very scary to deal with. And it opens up other mind games that I was talking about. Anyway, back to the tournament. Okay, very nice. Got my drink. This is the ideal round start situation. We drive rush in, get our drink. Because we spent a bit of drive, we're using our drive rush regen stat, which, you know, is another way to gain a resource and therefore gain an advantage over the opponent. Remember, the person who spends more drive at the end of the day is going to win. That's just how it is. Okay. This was a mistake that I was making, and DJ was like, you gotta start walking up and pressing lights. You know, playing defensive, walking back and throwing out medium kicks is actually a harder way to play Street Fighter 6. So, and that's also why I actually was leaning into the 5 HP and perfect parry a lot more. But with this target combo, you know, you can walk up and throw out a light. Some higher level Jamies cancel the target combo on the second hit. I don't know why. Probably just, you know, it's just a whatever. But you can actually get a throw even if you blocked, like your light attack was blocked. Why? Because your light attack can cancel into itself, so 3 light attacks. So, and you could mix in a low as well, so it's actually very hard to defend against. But I guess newer players don't walk up and press light attacks because they might get hit themselves, which is scary. Like, oh no, I don't want to get hit and lose my life. But if you can spend your life like a resource, you know, you're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to take this amount of risk and spend this much health. That's okay. And when you have the confidence to do that, your plays are just going to be a lot more successful overall. Because doubting yourself is not going to give you any reward, and you will miss the windows of opportunity that require a fraction, like a fraction of your decision making to get right. Anyway, okay. Like, you could 5 HP this and get a counter hit. So, or maybe walk back 5 HK, that might actually get a punish counter here. That would be good. Okay. I would actually go for the throw here, because you can throw a drink and that will get you out of burnout a lot faster than doing, whatever. So you would actually gain a little bit more, because remember, actually drinking fills up the burnout bar. So if you gain drive meter, it actually recovers the burnout bar as well. So the throw drink actually, one, buys you more time, because then it's judo time. You're going to throw it at the opponent. That's the threat. And you could go into burnout, throw it at the opponent, and get out of burnout. It's, what's the opponent going to do? So, like risk losing 60% of their health because they wanted to throw? Probably not, unless they, don't have another option. But it's, you're actually in a very strong position to get out of burnout quickly. You've kind of let it pass, ruined the opportunity. Well, first of all, going into, okay, a lot of things have gone wrong here. Okay, this is good. Why are we dive kicking? What would be the reason that you would dive kick? Does Alex have a fireball that you're jumping over? No. So this dive kick is just wasting 2 bars of drive. And you're like minus 40 or something in front of his face. Well, not quite. It seems you have spaced it where you're safe. But the point is, you've just burned away 2 bars of drive. Now, if this was a regular dive kick, okay, no problems. That's fine, because if it's a do-nothing play. But why would I spend drive meter on a do-nothing play? Unless I'm just disrespecting the opponent, you just, I don't care. I'm going to just do whatever, even if it doesn't make any sense. Which actually might be good. It might tilt the opponent, so, that is a factor to why it could be good. But, strictly speaking, from a fundamentals viewpoint, not spending drive when you don't have to will take you in a very good direction, especially in this game where resource spending is a very important thing to mentally keep track of. Okay. I mean, if you're kind of far enough away, you can actually just tap parry in a situation. Like, if the Alex is poking you, you can tap parry his stuff just to recover some drive. It's not too bad. You just have to not do it in a situation where you could get thrown. That's the only downside. So why did you go into burnout? So, okay. I mean, sort of right here, you could be tapping parry and not having to guess as much. All right, we get the 2MK going to dry rush. Unfortunately, you just have to drill it into your body, never to dry rush if it'll burn you out. I always look at the health bar and the resources, if I drive rush, can I kill the opponent? You know? And I mostly do that. If the opponent's life is below 3 bars of drive, that essentially means that the next interaction that I spend a resource on will kill the opponent. And that is my quick reference. I use the health bars and compare it to the health bar to make my decisions in a very quick way, you know, without, like, I just know how much damage does. It's like, okay, it's 3 bars of health, you know, give or take. So, yeah. And now we're just, okay, here was a huge misplay, which is just not throwing here, like just doing throw loops. This is throw loop time. This will waste time, get you out of burnout. Yeah. I mean, that's okay, damaging the opponent's drive, but getting out of burnout is the priority. Ooh. If the Alex with, say, command grab in your face, you got a 5 HK and get the crumple punish counter there. You could actually burn out Alex. You could do 5 HK DI, that's burnout and corner, and you'd, by doing that combo, go out of burnout yourself, and then your 6 bars with level 2 against Alex, who's burnt out in the core. You've won the round. That's the situation that you'd put yourself in there. Like, you might not, like, you might watch the replay back and be like, whatever, but that is a round winning opportunity missed, because it puts you in the best situation you could be in. Alex can just, he's +2, I believe, on the stomp. So you have to anti-air, which is quite hard, or just block it out. Okay, he command grabs you. I would get hit by that too. That's not too much of an issue. Okay, DP. I would be considering going to level 4 and using SA2 and gaining 3 bars of drive back to fix my drive. I would also open up opportunities to burn out Alex faster. The upgraded Wrecker, for example, is perfect for doing that. Okay, Alex is in burnout. How are we going to punish that? No, it's 5 HP to LP time. Don't respect burnout opponents. What are they going to do? I mean, they might win the round with a super, but that's whatever. If it happens, it happens. So that's not a problem, or it's not a mistake, I should say. Getting hit by a reversal. I think you shouldn't have a comeback mechanic in a fighting game like a reversal that takes away 50% of your health for just guessing right. I think it's stupid. I think it ruins the integrity of fighting games. You want to be playing neutral and having meaningful interactions with the opponent. But I digress. I think it is what it is. I guess it's part of the game. You gotta let the new players win, because that's where the money is. When the new fighting game players win, then they play the game, then they buy the summer swimsuit skins, and you make lots of money. Okay. I mean, in most cases, you can punish anything with 5 HP. So, when in doubt, just 5 HP, go into target combo. That is something I would recommend here. So, if literally anything happens on the screen that you can punish, 5 HP, go into the target combo, and then do whatever. It's that sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be a punish counter or a counter hit. As long as you hit with a 5 HP, you can go into the target. Oh, wow. I don't know about that, but You probably will get a counter hit in most cases. Anyway, back to the tournament. Man, this is like a teacher with a PowerPoint presentation. It's probably painful to watch, isn't it? Okay. There we go. You just got hit. Alex's big buttons. Okay. Now at this point, I would be like, what have I learned from losing the first round? What is the opponent's habits, and what can I do to use that against them and net myself a free punish counter and so on. Okay. See, you couldn't just parry that poke. It's like no big deal if that happens. Like at this sort of range, you could tap parry, you know. I also wouldn't throw out 5 HK this early into a round. You know, what if they jump? That's the risk. I don't want to get punish counted and eat 3000 damage. There we go. This is the perfect 5 HP. More of that, please. And you missed your... So look, you missed your frame trap. I mean, that's whatever. This is the perfect 5 HP. Frame trap. This... Whatever happens, you should throw out 5 MK here. And you would get a counter hit. Okay? The only way that doesn't work if the opponent identifies the frame trap and goes, I've been frame trapped before, I'm not going to press 2 LP, I'm going to press 2 MK. Right? That's the only time you'd lose. Otherwise, it's like a net 0 interaction, both players just block it out. Okay. You know, this is fine, whatever. Yep, this is a go into Wrecker situation, Wrecker drink, very, very, very important. It's a shame you missed it. Even worse, the driver's cats are coming out for no drink. Are you insane? Not drinking? You know. So I would prefer to see like I'm not sure if the pushback on the different levels of Wrecker is different, but you know, I would be ready with a 5 HP. So I would also be throwing. Like, here's the thing: if you don't drink on your strike throw Oki, you almost always have to go for the throw because they're not getting the drink. You're just delaying it too much, you know. And at that point, it's kind of bad. And then the argument is, if you drank on the second interaction after the Oki knockdown, you might as well just took the drink in the first place without the risk of, you know, the opponent waking up and doing an OD reversal. So you end up missing 2 chances to drink. One is guaranteed and the other one is, maybe if the opponent guesses wrong. Okay. Could have 5 HP'd there. Okay, we drivers cancel into nothing. It's very sad to see. And then you jump. Like jumping is going to get your drive back, you know? So you've gone from... Like think about it this way. You wouldn't jump if you weren't in burnout. Because you don't have to take the risk. As you're not forced to make a risky play. Anyway, this is also why you should be very careful when you drivers cancel. It's probably a bad habit. I think actually from watching so many low-level Jamies, it might just be a fear of not wanting to special cancel anything. For example, converting a 5 MK counter hit into medium punch wrecker. You're like, you know, what if I miss it? I'm going to drive rush cancel. And it's kind of a super bad habit to pay that much drive for such little reward. Anyway, okay, the Alex player is like, thanks for burning yourself out. I can do whatever I want now. That's a very funny throw, actually. So I don't know if you did this intentionally, but he's like, okay, the James is going to reversal, and then you throw him for it, for like blocking, which is very nice. Very nice to see. Okay, get our drink at 63 minutes. You know, that's too late. You should be drinking at 99 seconds. Okay, that's a 5 HK punish, if ever I've seen one. You'll get this with more experience, but like if I see the opponent throw out a slow move, I just know where my 5 HK is going to hit, and I can get a punish counter. And that will just come with experience and time. But yeah, you could have, like, let's see. Okay. I can wind back a few frames. Oh, so you backdashed. Why did you backdash? How is the Alex going to throw you? By backdashing, you missed the 5 HK punish. That's why it didn't happen. Well, that is a reason why you couldn't do it. So when you commit to a jump or a backdash, you cannot do any other action than a backdash or a forward dash or a jump. But if you walk back, so in other words, you have to consider not being able to punish, and you know, if an opportunity comes up, oh, you can't punish it because you jumped, or you know, you will not see high level players dashing around the screen or jumping that much. It's just like an opportunities are being missed. Anyway, don't backdash when you don't need to. Sometimes it's a useful frame kill, actually. Okay, I like it. I like the 5 HP. Now, there is not many situations where a jump light punch will be better than a jump medium kick when you're going for a cross up. Right here, this is 2MK punish counter territory. So if you land a 2 HP or 5 MK, you're like plus 10 or something. Like, okay, let's just check this. So I think you're plus 6 on the light. This will be interesting to check because I actually don't know. Because I just conceded the idea that why would I, you know, do a move that doesn't let me follow up with 5 MP. Okay, back to the training room. So plus 6, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's plus 1. And then light kick plus 2. Plus 8. So the main reason why I'm saying this is because we have this. So we can go, right? And maybe follow up with a 5 HP. That is one option. The other option is you do this. And you have your right, so that is the spacing for another frame trap. But you can't, like, your turn is over, but you're safe on a plus 1. Like maybe you get a throw here. That's like the extent of what you get. But anyway, so in other words, if you're going to jump and take on the risk of jumping, you might as well gamble for the highest reward possible, right? Gotta go for this combo, you know. And then you can just say, well, if I'm already committed to that, maybe I'll just go into level 2, you know, then do this. Or another one would be like maybe you do this, you know, or do this again, or you can just do nothing, get a punish counter, right? So you would only do like a jump light if you were trying to kill the like if a jump light would kill the opponent and you think they're a jump or something. Or you just want to like hit them out of the air fast and you know they're going to press a button, but that would imply that you're in a situation where you're scrambling, and if you're already in that situation and neither player are in control, well, that's a mistake, isn't it? So that is something to be avoided. Okay, target combo. I think you could have thrown there, but it's kind of whatever. Generally throwing a bit more. So it's not too much risk to throw when it's in a strike throw situation, because you have enough time to whiff the throw and then punish like a jump. So yeah, I mean, this isn't too bad. Okay. The perfect round start. I would actually just drive rush 5 HP again. You know? Just keep playing offensive. Don't back off and then be like, oh, I changed my mind, because it doesn't really work in Street Fighter 6. So you know, you're in the situation. You go, I'm going to dry rush 5 HP. You should just always be doing this. There shouldn't be a I'm going to be defensive mindset in your decision making. You go in and you drive rush 5 HP, and you're either going to get a counter hit, or you're going to see God. You're going to get punish countered, or your strategy read and die. Well, that's, you know, what is it? The meme of the racing driver keeping his foot on the gas, you know, regardless of the consequences. That should be you when you're playing Jamie, right? Because if you give, so here's the other advantage. Once you've established that hyper aggression, you can then be defensive, and suddenly you've got a lot of space to take a drink, because the opponent is scared, because they're constantly guessing. They're constantly trying to react to whatever random shit you're trying to do. But then if you do nothing, they have to react to that. But if you instantly drink after relieving the pressure, after establishing that you're being offensive, you just get free drinks in. It's really effective. But you have to be like, you know, you have to establish that you're not scared of taking a risk and you're just going to run at the opponent, because it's not up to you whether or not the opponent doesn't know how to deal with your pressure. It's not up to you to decide whether or not you win a match. Right, it is. But if you're running a flowchart, like if you're playing the game in a flowcharty way, it's just the opponent guessing wrong. You know, you're not really doing anything other than playing optimally. Anyway, we get a drink in. I mean, this is, if you get the knockdown, you're plus, and you know you should be checking this. You can actually just go into the training room, knock down Alex, and then make him jump, drive rush, or DI, and react to it. And you'll be ready for the situation. And this isn't good to just drive rush after a knockdown. You'll just get checked almost every time against a good player. Very nice. We blocked the low. Okay. Get scammed by a command grip. That's okay. So right about here, there will be an alarm bell going off in my head. The opponent is below 3 bars of drive, which means if I spend my drive, I can put him into burnout and not being burnt out myself, which is a huge momentum shift. And recognizing that situation is important. This could be very important. Okay, the driver's cancel is a bit sussy, a bit strange. Well, I mean, the funny thing is you actually got a hit in. It would be much better if the Alex player blocked this out, right? And you just did 5 MP, 5 MP, 2 MP Wrecker, 5 MK Wrecker. Sorry, not 2 MP, 5 MP. Sorry, 2 MK. 2 MK Wrecker, my bad. It would be so much better to just make him block and then burn him out. And I'll show one such block string that I use that I think is very effective. And higher level players will actually let themselves get hit because they just don't want to be burnt out. So you can do I have to turn off the block reversal. So it'd be maybe something like this. That is the... I mean, you can also do it with a 5 MK. Or a 2 MK there. That is both perfectly acceptable. And it's so much better with Drink level 4. Because we can just burn 1.5 by doing this. It's very, very strong. So it might be like... That's safe. Sorry. Like something like that would be okay. But ideally we just kind of poke and get that. And of course the opponent is going to block. Right, like if the goal is to just hit them and get, like, this is extremely easy to do. Oh, sorry, it would be... I mean, you can do pretty much whatever, right? And so this character at Drink level 4 can do 6 bars of burnout if you want to take some a decent amount of risk, but yeah, you effectively cannot really just block at a Jamie player because he'll burn you out very quickly if you want to do that, which I think is really, really strong. Or I know it's strong because nobody wants to be in burnout. Yeah, back to the tournament. I'm kind of like overdoing this, but I guess it's fine. Because I realize it's been this amount of time for like, what is it, one game. So the actual, the Sea Viper games will probably take a bit longer, or maybe it'll be a separate video, most likely. Anyway, back to the tournament. Okay, there we go. Oops. Okay, we're just going crazy here. So okay. So maybe at this point you're a bit tilted and you're making some wild decisions. Yeah. Good stuff so far. Unfortunate parry. Unfortunate parry there. So the downside is if you tap parry like that and don't block a button, you're like minus 35 or something. There's a lot of recovery. It might even be 40. They nerfed a tap parrying a long time ago. Anyway. So this isn't like 2 HP DI is actually not bad. I think I was experimenting with it and I think it's good. But the next decision is a bit crazy. It makes sense. The opponent might jump out of the corner, but yeah, putting yourself into burnout is because so the risk is Alex back throws you here, and then you're in the corner burnt out, and you might as well kiss the round goodbye because you've lost. That is, a game losing situation. So, I mean, fortunately, you don't get thrown there. But yeah, it's very nice 5 HP. I mean, this is a good way to play Jamie. You're just getting small counter hits. You're being annoying or frame trapping. And it's a good way to wear down the opponent, and then maybe you'll get a counter hit, a punish counter, and finish off the opponent with level 2 or SA3. That was a very cheeky sweep. I mean, since he's doing round start walk back, you could drive rush to MK, drive rush cancel Shen Shao, and get him in the corner. You could try that. Opening round start is very, very good. It's probably the best one you could do with Jamie. Okay. I mean, the drive rush cancel there was good because you could go into the Shen Shao combo, but unfortunately, we don't quite have the confidence to do it. Ah, I see. 5 MP into 2 HP heavy palm didn't come out. It seems the nerves are making you fumble. Which happens for everyone. But it won't happen in the next tournament. Got a tap parry there. Yeah. This is a bit of a yikes. You missed, so when you counter hit with drive rush 5 HP, so you actually can 2 MP here, so 2 MP OD palm, or you can 5 LK 2 LP before going into target combo. Oh, you did, good, okay. Good stuff. Now, this level 3 wasn't bad actually. So the only mistake here is that you've not burnt out the opponent. So it would be now you can do this in the corner or mid-screen, but all you have to do is drive rush 2 HP DI. There is a slight delay that is required, but not in the corner. So if you don't delay, it's gonna whiff. But with a delay, you'll you'll burn an extra bar of drive there, which would put this Alex player into burnout. And unfortunately, you didn't do that. You went for this combo, which is good for corner carry, but burnout is always going to be better than any other option. And you'll see a lot of high-level Jamie players just doing drive rush DI. Sorry, drive rush 2 HP DI. That is the case there. Okay. Burns himself out anyway. Nice throw. Ooh. So we gamble on the DI. So you have 2 drinks into a sweep drink. Because you don't, I mean, you have 2 drinks into a sweep drink or 1 drink into a jump 2 HP heavy palm. Sorry, jump 2 HP, 2 HP heavy palm. But yeah, you picked the worst option, no drinks, which is gonna make your game way harder to win. You know, never stay at drink level 0 if you can avoid it. Unless you're like me and intentionally stay at drink level 0 because you don't, because you need to nerf yourself to have some fun in this game sometimes. Or just for practice, you know? Ooh. Okay. Now, there is no comment I can make here because once you left the corner, it kind of became a scramble. And considering your health, a random special move will chip and kill you, so... Unfortunately, this game puts you in extremely difficult situations to win from, and you just got to accept the loss. You got to say, damn, nothing I could have done here, which is perfectly fine, which leads me to emphasize this, which is if you plan ahead and make good decisions to think ahead and be like, I don't want to be in a scramble and a burnout. I want to be in control with throw looping or, you know, going for safe jumps and stuff, getting them, or like, if you have a stun, you're not wasting it by not getting some drinks in, because that's basically free. Okay, that's an 0-2. Oh, it's the final round. Okay, that's it. Well, this is almost been an hour, so I will consider this one episode, I guess, and then at some point a bit later do the Sea Viper, which is the losers match. See you guys later. Let me know in the comments if you learned something or would like your own replay reviews done. I'd be happy to do it. See you guys later.